The NHL has only been back for 2 days, and we have already seen some great individual performances. Dominik Kubalik in his playoff debut scoring 5 points in the Blackhawks Game 1 win over the Oilers, and vintage Carey Price absolutely stonewalling the Penguins with 39 saves in their overtime win. Who knows, maybe they're both set to have some great playoff runs of their own, but I won't get too ahead of myself because it was just Game 1 and we'll see how they perform later on today in Game 2. In this video, I want to stay in the playoff spirit and take a look at 10 of the greatest individual playoff runs in NHL history. It was actually really hard choosing just 10, so make sure to let me know some of your favorites down below. And now let's begin. With how fast everything went downhill following the 16-17 season, it kinda makes people forget how incredible Ottawa's run to the 2017 Eastern Conference Finals was. Although numerous players stepped up and contributed, with guys like Bobby Ryan, Mike Hoffman, Derek Brassard, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, and Kyle Turris all scoring 10 or more points, and on top of that, Craig Anderson was great for the Senators in net, finishing the playoffs with a .922 save percentage. But nobody was as good and as important to the team than Erik Karlsson, who led the Senators in playoff scoring with 18 points in 19 games, a +13 rating, and averaged a little over 28 minutes of ice time per game. It really was amazing watching him and Crosby go head to head in the conference finals. At the time, they were two of the absolute best players on the planet. What makes this playoff run by Karlsson so special in my opinion is the fact he had been playing with 2 hairline fractures in his left heel for the entirety of it. It's a shame he and the Sens came just 1 goal away from making the Stanley Cup Finals. As we know, the Penguins went on to win the Cup after beating the Senators. A couple different bounces, and maybe that could have been Ottawa winning the Cup. Who knows? Maybe if that happened, Erik Karlsson would still be a Senator right now. Yes, the game was completely different back in the 1950s. As opposed to having to win 16 games en route to the Stanley Cup, they only had to win 8. Even with that being said, it would be criminal to leave this playoff run off the list considering just how dominant Sawchuk was. In the 1952 playoffs, he literally did not lose. 8 games, 8 wins, 4 of them being shutouts and allowing just 5 goals in total. There wasn't a Conn Smythe award back then, but you can bet he was the MVP of the 1952 playoffs. Performances like that are the reason why Terry Sawchuk is one of the greatest goaltenders in NHL history. Realistically, this whole video could just consist of the great one and all the amazing playoff runs he has had throughout his NHL career, but I decided to include only one. After putting up 208 points in the 1984-85 regular season, winning himself the Hart and the Art Ross trophies, Gretzky carried that amazing play over into the playoffs, scoring at almost exactly the same pace as he did in the regular season, with 47 points in 18 playoff games. That is the most by any player in a single postseason in NHL history, a record that will almost certainly never be touched. The Oilers lost just 3 total games on the way to winning their 2nd straight Stanley Cup, and of course the Conn Smythe for playoffs MVP was awarded to the Great One. Just imagine if they had lost a couple of more games, I'm sure Gretzky's point totals would have been even more ridiculous. Brad Richards may be remembered as one of the worst free agent signings in NHL history, but don't let that overshadow the fact he did have a fantastic career. In 03-04, as a 23-year-old, Richards had a great season with Tampa, scoring 79 points in 82 games and finishing 3rd on the team in scoring behind Marty St. Louis and Corey Stillman. But in the playoffs, he took his game to a whole other level and was the key factor in the Lightning winning their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. Game after game, series after series, he continued to come up clutch, scoring 7 game-winning goals throughout the playoffs, which is the most by any player in a single postseason in NHL history. His 26 points was the most of any player in the 2004 playoffs, and when it came time to award the Conn Smythe, Richards was the easy choice. This is one of my favorites for one particular reason, the guarantee game. After falling in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals to the New Jersey Devils, the Rangers found themselves facing elimination down 3 games to 2. Captain Mark Messier then guaranteed a Game 6 victory. His exact words, "We'll win tonight." And I'm sure by now you all know the story. Messier backed up his guarantee in a big way, scoring a hat trick and adding an assist in the Rangers' Game 6 victory. New York went on to win Game 7 and eventually snap a 54-year Stanley Cup drought by defeating the Vancouver Canucks in the Stanley Cup Finals. Although Brian Leetch won the Conn Smythe as playoffs MVP, it was still an incredible run for Mark Messier. He scored 30 points in 23 games and became the very first player in NHL history to captain two different teams to a Stanley Cup, something that has still never been done since. In my opinion, this has to be in the conversation for the greatest individual playoff run in NHL history. The Anaheim Mighty Ducks entered the 2003 playoffs as the 7th seed, drawing the defending Stanley Cup champion Detroit Red Wings in round 1. Nobody really gave the Ducks much of a chance, but not only did they upset the Red Wings, they swept them. Jaguar allowed just 6 goals in 4 games and finished the series with a .965 save percentage. This started to become a trend throughout the playoffs. The following round, the Ducks defeated the Dallas Stars in 6 games, Jaguar finishing that series with a .936 save percentage. And then in the Western Conference Finals against the Minnesota Wild, Jaguar had one of the most insane playoff series of all time, sweeping the Wild, recording 3 shutouts and allowing just 1 goal in the entire series, finishing with an absurd .992 save percentage. Unfortunately, the Anaheim Mighty Ducks and Jaguar met their match in the Stanley Cup Finals, falling to the New Jersey Devils in 7 games. Usually in this case, the Conn Smythe would be awarded to a member of the Devils, but it was awarded to Jaguar instead, who was very deserving. Nobody has won the award from a losing team since. It's unfortunate that such an amazing playoff run did not result in a Stanley Cup, but luckily Jaguar and the Ducks were able to capture the cup just 4 years later. No surprise that Super Mario makes an appearance in this video, arguably the second greatest player in NHL history. Had it not been for health issues, he very well could have went down as the best. Lemieux missed a good chunk of the 90-91 season due to a back injury he had suffered the season prior, but that did not stop him from dominating the 1991 postseason, racking up 44 points in 23 games, leading the Penguins to their first of back-to-back Stanley Cups and providing us with one of the nicest goals in NHL history. You guys know which one I'm talking about. To nobody's surprise, Lemieux was awarded the Conn Smythe as playoffs MVP. His 44 points were 10 more than teammate Mark Recchi's 34, who finished second in playoff scoring. Similar to what I had mentioned earlier when talking about Wayne Gretzky, a couple of Patrick Roy's playoff runs probably could have made this list. But again, I decided to limit it to just one, and went with the 1993 playoffs just for the sheer insanity that it was. En route to winning the Stanley Cup, Patrick Roy and the Montreal Canadiens won 10 straight overtime games. 2 in round 1, 3 in round 2, 2 more in round 3, and 3 more overtime victories coming one after the other in the Stanley Cup Finals against the LA Kings. Of course, Patrick Roy was a massive part of these games and was awarded the Conn Smythe for his efforts, the second of 3 he would win throughout his NHL career. I can't even begin to imagine how stressful that playoff run must have been for Canadiens fans and especially for the players. A couple of different bounces and things could have turned out completely different. Only 3 players in NHL history scored more points in a single postseason than Gino, those players being Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, and Paul Coffey. That is some pretty elite company, and those players did it back in the 80s and 90s when scoring was way higher than it was in 2009, when Malkin had his incredible playoff run. At the age of 22, he dominated the postseason, scoring 14 goals and adding 22 assists for 36 points, 8 of those points coming in the Stanley Cup Final. Malkin did a fantastic job of stepping up when the team needed it most, especially considering Crosby really struggled in the finals against the Red Wings. Malkin was definitely the MVP for the Penguins throughout the entirety of the 2009 playoffs, and he was rewarded with the Conn Smythe after the Penguins captured the Stanley Cup, defeating the Red Wings in 7 games. In just their third season after entering the league, the Panthers surprised everybody and made an incredible run to the '96 Stanley Cup Final, along the way upsetting the likes of the Philadelphia Flyers, led by Eric Lindros in the second round, and the Mario Lemieux-led Pittsburgh Penguins in the Eastern Conference Finals. Unfortunately, then the Avalanche proved to be too much for the Florida Panthers, sweeping them in the Stanley Cup Final. Offensively, the Panthers were led by Dave Lowry, Ray Shepherd, and Stu Barnes. You don't recognize any of those names? Me either. The only reason the Panthers were able to make such a run is because of goaltender John Van Beesbroek, who had some incredible performances. Two of his best included making 39 saves in Game 6 of the conference finals to eliminate the Penguins, and best of all, in Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final, Van Beesbroek did everything he could to give his team a chance, making 55 saves in the 1-0 triple overtime loss. He finished the playoffs with a 2.25 goals against and a .932 save percentage, and was third in Conn Smythe voting. That is going to do it for today's video on 10 of the greatest individual playoff runs in NHL history. Be sure to let me know what some of your favorites were down below in the comment section. Also, be sure to leave your predictions on some players you think can have a great playoff run in the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm interested to hear that as well. With that being said, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please make sure to go down there and drop a like on it. That is the best way to show your support. And as always, if you guys are new to the channel and you want to see more NHL content like this, then be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys all in the next video.